I just want to go to the movie extra thing. I'm proud of your son, by the way. I'm proud of your kids, your family. I mean, I don't want to I don't want to dilute or water that down in any way. That's my number one turn on is family and people into their kids, and that's my thing. But you're a movie extra 3 times. So does that mean that you are like in the business of applying to be an extra, or do you get tapped because you're in the area? Like, how does that happen?
So, I'm originally from the Chicago area, and a guy I used to work with, his father was actually the former had just retired as the head of the Chicago Gambling and Vice Unit. If you can imagine what that job must be like in Chicago, that's probably next in importance to the mayor, to be heading up that.
I could not imagine Vice in Chicago.
Yeah, no, hard to imagine, I know. But he was hired as a technical consultant on a movie. Gosh, I can't remember what it was called. Next of Kin, I think, with Patrick Swayze. This is back in the 80s or 90s. Anyway, his dad came home once and he met the casting director for extras or whatever. And anyway, my friend Don said, "Hey, Ted, my dad's, he's a technical consultant on this film." And he said, "Hey, if you guys ever want to be an extra in the movies, just fill this out." And this was before digital cameras or anything. So you had to take a Polaroid picture of yourself and fill out all this information on your wardrobe size and all this thing. And I sent it in on a lark. And I mean, literally within 2 weeks, I got a call saying, "Hey, we're shooting this movie. Do you want to be on?" I'm like, wow, I can't believe this. And I can't remember which came first, but in rapid succession, and at the time, I think I only had 2 weeks vacation. I was working 3D computer graphics, had a great job. And when they call you to be an extra, you have to tell them yes or no right then and there, or else they're just going to move on to the next name on the list.
Next phone call.
Yeah, right. So I said, yeah, count me in. And, oh my gosh, it was very, very interesting. At one point, for the movie The Babe, which was about Babe Ruth, not Babe the Pig, I'm always asked that. They told me asked me if I could grow sideburns. This is when I'm in hair and makeup. They said, "Can you grow your sideburns?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why is that?" Well, they said, "This is a period film. This is going to be shot in the 1920s. And I'm thinking to myself, they had sideburns in the 1920s? Anyway, I grew out my sideburns. The shoot gets postponed. So all summer long, I look like Elvis, walking. I have my driver's license photo taken with these long sideburns. And then I go in the day of the shoot finally, and the guy says, "Man, what's with these sideburns, dude?" I said, "Well, last time I was here, the other guy said to grow them out." He said, "I don't know why I would have told you that." And he starts shaving them off.
So you had to live with them. You get your driver's license photo shot. You're explaining to everyone why you got to have them. And then they're like, "We don't want them."
Making fun of me and everything. But it was a very interesting experience for sure. And The Fugitive is the only film that you can really see me in. That I'm in a clear shot right in the frame with Harrison Ford.
When you're saying that it was so interesting, and I'm interested, but this is not a double. This is not you acting as anyone, like you're not doing a stunt or anything. You're an extra, meaning they need a crowd of people or someone walking down the street, or is that what the job is?
Yeah, so I'll give you one example. So in Backdraft, this was the opening scene of the movie, and this is where
This is Kurt Russell, right?
That's right, yeah. And Ron Howard was I think he was the director.
Yep, I remember the movie.
And so the opening scene, they had an explosion in an apartment building, and we're shooting this in Chicago, and it's like in November, so it's freezing cold out. And so they had chosen me to be a Chicago policeman of all things. And there were 3 of us who were going to be policemen, and they had period uniforms and everything. So anyway, we get all dressed up and we come out, and it's supposed to be shooting in the early 1970s, maybe 1970. And so anyway, they sent me all the way to the end of the street, to stand by a police car. So I wasn't really in that film very much, but Backdraft was a whole different thing. So for that shot, it was really almost the climax of the movie, the plot, where Dr. Richard Kimball reappears in public for the first time after being on the lam, as a fugitive for 3 or 4 months, and confronts his nemesis, who's giving a speech at a podium. And this is supposed to be at a convention of doctors and stuff. So I'm wearing a coat and tie and everything. And there were probably, I don't know, like 400 extras in the ballroom of the Chicago Hilton and Towers. And they were setting up this one shot where Harrison Ford, who plays Dr. Kimball, walks between the tables to confront his nemesis at the podium. And they're setting up the shot, and so the camera's going to be back here. It's going to be shooting across here. And I'm like, if they use this shot, for sure, I'm in the frame. I mean, I'm standing right behind. I was sitting, but then the assistant director says, "Okay, I need a few people to stand up because Dr. Kimball has appeared for the first time in 4 months. You're all colleagues of his, and you're shocked to see that he suddenly appeared. And so I want you, and I want you. And he points at me to be one of the people to stand up as, Harrison Ford walks past our table. So anyway,
that's awesome. So it's not like some acting role. You still have to, you have to do something intricate. You're not just one of 5,000 people in a stadium or something.
Right. And the funny thing is that everybody's sitting at my table. This was supposed to be like a dinner reception or whatever. Everyone's sitting at my table. These are all like aspiring actors and actresses, and they're all talking about their, auditions and stuff that they're going to. And, I'm not in this, have no aspirations whatsoever to be in the movies, but I'm the only one person at the table that, they chose to stand up, and, I'm in the frame of of the film. It was funny. But we started shooting at 4:00 in the afternoon, didn't finish up till 6:00 the following morning. And this was in the early 90s, so I didn't have a cell phone or anything. My wife was worried to death about me. She knew I was going downtown Chicago to shoot this film and didn't come home. But it was a 12, 14-hour shoot.
What do you get paid for that? Is it any money?
It wasn't bad. I was surprised I'd made like $120 or something. I don't know, it was like $10 an hour. And this was, in the early 90s. So. And then I got called again, the very next day, and they said, "Hey, we're shooting a party scene. Do you want to be in that? And here's what it involves." I'm like, I can't take any more time off work. It's just because you do a lot of sitting around. You just sit and sit and sit. But to do it a couple times is great. But I'm glad I did it. I can check that off my lifetime accomplishment list, and I can always look at myself in the movies. That's pretty cool.
So, is that an industry? I mean, are there people that are try to be in a few of these a month, and that's what they do, to your knowledge, or are you not deep enough to know?
No, you can never make a living being an extra. They just don't pay that much. But there are people that, they're, I don't know, whatever their lifestyle or their job allows them to do it, and they do it often enough. But, I did it a few times. I'm like, okay, I see what's involved here. Been there, done that kind of thing. Let's move on to something that I can make a living at. Like I said, it was completely by accident. I had no intention whatsoever, but of making any kind of attempt at a career of it. But it was fun to do.
This has been Jeff Stearns, Connected Through Cars.